Afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. Guys, my name is Samantha. The video I'm fixing to show you, it's going to be a bit longish, and that's okay. Because, guys, one, we're going to talk about the DEAGLE report. I found it. It's an actual thing. We're going to talk about declassified CIA records, something called the Adam and Eve theory. And then we're going to tie that into geoengineering and how the American population is supposed to decrease by 71% in 2025. That is a military report. It is real. It is true. And that is what our government is predicting and preparing for, folks. Don't turn this off. Hang until the end of the video. I'm going to tell you who DEAGLE is, the guy who wrote the 2025 DEAGLE report that everybody's blowing the internet up about. This guy was connected. Just to get you guys warmed up, let's start with this.
This problem that all of this comes down to is the refusal of most people to believe that people in power wish them harm, actively want to harm them. That is the hardest thing for most people to accept. And there are a lot of people who just won't do that, even if they're quite aware that things aren't right, and you can talk to them about this and that, and they're open to it. But once you reach the point that the people in control are actively trying to harm you, that's too much for them.
Get that out of the way. Stop believing that your government, that your unelected officials and your NGOs, and even your religious organizations are not trying to get rid of you. Okay, so just stop with that belief, because what I'm fixing to show you is that not only has our government suspected and been doing reports on what I'm fixing to talk about since the 60s, they have known since 2019 that the American population is set to decline, folks, by 71%, and they themselves have been preparing. Now, you may say, what do you mean they're preparing? Like, they're preparing for chaos. Watch.
There are reports already coming out that on the federal government, state, local, they are already preparing for massive civil unrest. About a big warning for America. And it was the security defense up in our federal government was saying Americans are clueless, and almost everybody is unprepared for what could happen at any moment. And that video is about a cyber attack and how it could take down the water supplies, the electric supplies. What are you going to do if that would happen? And it could happen suddenly and you're not prepared. Well, then this is different, because there's also reports coming out that they are getting ready for massive civil unrest. So massive chaos. After the election, before the election.
Billions of dollars have been being put into things like armored vehicles and police officer robots. Why? Why would you need that in the United States? Unless maybe you were concerned there wasn't enough physical officers?
Fighting robot patrols Atlanta's Old Fourth Ward autonomously. It's one of 2 Nightscope AI robots deployed at Wingate City Lights apartments to address high crime rates. The Nightscope K5 patrols the area using cameras, thermal sensors, facial and plate recognition, and wireless signal detection to monitor surroundings. If it detects a threat, the K5 alerts authorities and warns people nearby.
How is this massive depopulation going to happen? I don't know. But I know that I found a report titled 2025 that the military did again, saying that the American population would grow 68% of new growth from 2020 to 2050 would be Spanish and Hispanic growth. In other words, everybody else in America, all the other demographics, all the other ethnicities have to decrease, right? Because 68% of our growth is going to come from the Hispanics that are illegally coming into our country. That I am hearing that we're supposed to have a magnetic pole swap. I don't know a lot about this. And I'm like, what are these people talking about? What are they talking about?
And here's the kicker, the continuation of that infamous 2012 calendar. It had stuff predicted, even the 2019 pandemic, man. But it doesn't stop there. It's saying that in 2025, the Earth's going to pull a switcheroo and reverse its rotation. The CIA apparently has this under wraps with some document called the Adam and Eve theory. And the craziest part is that these archaeologists, after discovering all this, poof, gone, vanished the next day. All that's left is their report, which is why I'm sharing this with you. True or not, it's a story worth diving.
Look up, could the magnetic pole swap? They tell you that you're crazy, that it's not going to happen in one day like people are predicting. Just hang in there, listen to me. Like the CIA is predicting. What? Did you hear that? Yeah. Guys, in 1960, it's called the Adam and Eve story. This guy did this whole report on the fact that we're due some kind of magnetic pole swap and that it's going to happen very rapidly and that it's happened multiple times on the earth already and that this was just recently declassified, folks. But when you look it up, they tell you it's not possible. And then what they tell you is that there's no iron in the atmosphere that could actually connect the electromagnetic current to make this happen. But what about this?
To put material in the stratosphere to reflect sunlight.
So the problem is the following. If you add SO2 to the stratosphere, SO2 doesn't condense. So you might want to put alumina in. Alumina has a very high initial refraction. It's very small. It doesn't coagulate. And you can engineer particles to have particular properties. You can get them out of the stratosphere. You can concentrate particles near the poles.
Costs are so cheap that the richest people on the planet could perhaps afford to buy an ice.
Swell up? Did he just say the rich, the elite, the unelected officials running the world, they could probably survive it? How could they survive it? Could it be because of this?
And billionaires usually have it, but of late, they seem to have a new obsession. Bunkers. The top 1% are building bunkers. Mark Zuckerberg is constructing one in Hawaii, and it's worth $270 million, $270 million. It's almost like a status symbol now. But why do the super rich need bunkers? Are they trying to survive a war? Maybe another pandemic? Or an apocalypse? Do they know something that we do not? Our next report tells you.
Blast-resistant doors, equipped with its own food and energy supplies. This is a 5,000 square foot shelter located underground in Hawaii. The price tag of the project is $207.
So of course I looked it up and I'm like, okay, so there's no iron, but what about aluminum? Could aluminum act as a connector for all this to happen? And the answer is yes. Yes, it can. And what are they spraying in our skies every sinking day through geoengineering, folks? Aluminum. Look at it. Look at this. You all have seen this. Half of you believe this is just planes flying in the sky and, you know, that's just the exhaust coming out the backside. Baby, it's not. Listen to me. That's geoengineering at its best, friend. Wait, folks, we reapplied to be monetized September 3rd, 2024. I haven't heard anything yet. If you would like to donate $1 today, it would be an amazing day because I have to take my German Shepherd to see a veterinarian neurologist next week. He is not doing well. And in this little video clip right here, you can see how I'm pointing to this weird rash that he's got. He was losing his balance last year, and then before we went to Maui, he was eating his tail. I spent almost $500 to be told there's nothing showing up in his blood work, his fecal, or his x-rays. So now I have to go to a neurologist, and I don't have credit cards. I'm going to be very honest with you. Right now, I don't have the money, and I'm going to have to push the appointment back. But he's losing muscle mass in his back right leg, and I am very worried there's something seriously wrong with my dog. Now, YouTube took my money away, and I am a firm believer that God will make a way. But I'm asking, if you were ever going to send $1, please send it today. Please send it today, so I don't have to push his appointment back Thursday. I really want to know what's wrong with my dog. I have to put all these pieces together, okay? Like, We have an uncovered CIA document from the 1960s saying that this is fixing to happen in 2025. We had people screaming about it all over social media that this is fixing to happen in 2025. Then we had the DEAGLE report that was written in 2019 that everybody became aware of in 2020 that said, hey, America, actually all of Western civilization, including Europe, Ireland, Germany, New Zealand, we're all supposed to lose huge amounts of our population while places like China and Africa and India grow their population. So are we going to have a nuclear war? Are we going to have another pandemic? Are we going to have an Adam and Eve scenario? Are we going to have a Noah's Ark where the oceans rise out of, like, within hours and just wipe the earth? I mean, not the entire earth. We know that can't happen because God promises the rainbow is a symbol of the promise that he'll never flood the entire earth. Again, know your Bible. That's where you don't become afraid. It's where you open your eyes, okay? But it makes you wonder because they call us insane. They tell us it's not possible, but if you dig a little deeper, you realize that they're putting the pieces to make it possible. You got the solar storm that they're claiming is coming in 2025. They said one just missed us a few years ago, and we should have all died then, but now we're expecting the big one.
The probability that our sun generating what they call a GMD, which is a solar storm, that hits our Earth and the magnetic field that we have around the Earth and can fry everything that is electric above the ground, including our entire grid.
And this would happen organically, naturally? That's just what the sun does?
It has happened. There was they call it a Carrington event.
Yes, the Carrington event is something, again, it's a natural geomagnetic storm.
Sunflowers hating on the sun.
Well, let me show you something here about authenticity. And you guys tell me what you think about this. Can you see those sunflowers? Sunflowers have a thing called heliotropism. They face the sun and curve their face towards the sun every day, all day, every hour to absorb the sun. Can you see there? Yeah, they got their face turned away from the sun here. Now, if you look up over through...
DEAGLE was nominated by Bill Clinton to be the undersecretary to the Air Force. This guy was connected, folks. He also worked on that liberal think tank institute in Washington, D.C. Okay? He also ran a company with his wife on military ballistics and statistics. They were very good at doing reports for the government. So this is the same gentleman who in 2019 put out the 2025 forecast on world populations, basically saying the Western world was basically going to die out. Why is that? Because it's all part of the global plan to depopulate the earth. They can call us fanatics. They can say that we don't know what we're talking about. But the proof is all there just by who they associate with. Dr. DEAGLE, he died in 2021 in Tampa, Florida. However, he was connected to Rockefeller. I don't know, you guys. If you don't know how all these names tie in together, look, I'm just learning. We are never too old to learn. It is never too late to get on the winning side. But for this to change, more and more people must find out the truth. So God bless you. I've got to get inside and finish cooking. My daughter and I cooked a bunch of Southern chicken style dishes, actually 2 different ones tonight. I'm currently feeding out the animals and I need to go in and love on my boys. But again, if you would like to donate to help support our channel and the time that I put in making these videos, today would be such a blessing, folks, because that money is all going to him, to the vet. We love you. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and thank you for watching to the end.